Hey Buffs, in this edition of NewsTeam Boulder on Friday, March 24th, we will be talking about clean composting. What is it and how do we get there?
2 years after the Table Mesa King Super shooting that took the lives of 10 people, NewsTeam hears from survivors.
And last but not least, with spring break upon us, summer is just around the corner. We'll give you some helpful tips for summer storage. Welcome to another episode of NewsTeam Boulder. I'm Tessa Stigler.
And I'm Jada Rodriguez.
Sustainability should be something we all strive for, but a few things will be changing this spring as A1 Organics, the compost disposal company for the Front Range, is attempting to create a cleaner compost. We go to NewsTeam's Derek Hernandez for more.
Sticky, slimy, smelly. Some may call it disgusting, but most just call it compost. CU takes pride in its efforts to be more and more sustainable, offering many different forms of disposal throughout campus, from landfill, recycling, and of course, compost. No matter where you go, a compost bin won't be far behind. Which makes sense when places across campus rely so heavily on compostable goods. But all of this might change with a new announcement from A1 Organics. Starting April 1st, what can and what can't be composted will be changing. Currently behind me is everything that is available to be composted. But on April 1st, the only two things will be yard scraps and food waste. Everything else, including cups that say they're compostable, will no longer be accepted into composting. These should just be thrown away. Things like paper and cardboard should be recycled, but things such as pizza boxes, due to the food residue still on them, should simply be thrown away. So why the change?
A1 Organics said that there's just way too much contamination.
Contamination can be any slow-degrading material, or materials that can be deceiving in whether they are compostable or not, such as plastic-lined cardboards. To solve the issue most effectively, A1 Organics decided to return to basics, meaning only food and plant matter. CU has not yet figured out how they will be tackling this issue, but are working hard to solve the problem. Derek Hernandez, NewsTeam Boulder.
Some local businesses have found a solution to these changes in composting by signing up for a reusable to-go box service, Deliver Zero. Deliver Zero offers a service to restaurants and stores where they provide, clean, and retrieve Tupperware containers for customer use. One spokesperson at the company spoke to a local group known as Green Drinks Boulder this last Tuesday.
We're in Zeal, we're in Leaf, Naked Lunch, Pasta Press, Dune Box, and Elephant Fusion Cafe. So yeah, if you guys have a restaurant that you love and you want to see them switch to reusables, just tell the restaurant directly. If you're able to email them or leave a review, let them know that we want to work with Deliver Zero to switch to reusables.
Whole Foods plans to launch Deliver Zero at their local Pearl Street store this week. If all goes as planned, they will be spreading the partnership across the state. After the break, we'll hear about the Miami Beach shooting and what that means for students' spring break.
And later we'll give you some pointers on what to do for your summer storage. Stay tuned. Wednesday marked the 2-year anniversary of the shooting at the Table Mesa King Supers in Boulder. 10 people were killed when a gunman entered the store and opened fire. A remembrance event honoring the victims was held Wednesday evening. NewsTeam's Megan McPherson was at the event where members of the Boulder community gathered for support and to hear from family members of the victims.
Wednesday marked 2 years since an armed gunman entered the Boulder King Supers on Table Mesa and took the lives of 10 innocent people. As the city continues to heal and move forward from this incident, the lives of the victims are remembered annually at the Boulder Strong Day of Remembrance here at E-Town behind me.
The community came together here last night to share words of remembrance and healing from family members of the victims, community leaders, and musicians. Those killed on March 22, 2021 were Jody Waters, Eric Talley, Denny Stong, Nevin Stanisic, Ricky Olds, Lynn Murray, Kevin Mahoney, Terry Laker, Suzanne Fountain, and Trelona Bartkowiak. Ellen Mahoney, the wife of victim Kevin Mahoney, remembers hearing birds singing outside her window about a month after her husband died and not understanding why they were singing.
But nothing made sense after our loved ones were suddenly and violently ripped away from us, with no goodbyes.
Robert Olds, Ricky Olds' uncle, voiced his frustration with the justice system in bringing closure to his and the other victims' families.
We've also been frustrated by a broken judicial system that seems to serve the murderer more than it does the victims. We continue to be re-victimized time and time again with court delays, reports of incompetency, and defense lawyer tactics.
He also had a message for Governor Jared Polis, who was in attendance.
I hope we can count on you and the leaders of this state to hold the doctors at the state mental hospital accountable to restore the defendant now, so that we aren't in the same place next year, still waiting for justice.
Other event speakers included Mayor Aaron Brockett and Boulder Chief of Police Maris Harold. The families of the victims are grateful for work lawmakers have done to address mass shootings in Colorado and the United States, but they also say that more work needs to be done.
We need to address mental health issues to prevent gun violence and ban assault weapons. It's not hard to understand. There are no excuses.
Resources for people experiencing trauma related to the King Soopers shooting are available at the Boulder Strong Resource Center at 2935 Baseline Road in Boulder.
Reporting live from Spruce Street, Megan McPherson, NewsTeam, Boulder.
After violence in Miami Beach over the weekend, the city hopes to keep peace for the rest of spring break season. In the wake of 2 fatal shootings, the city council chose not to impose a citywide curfew for this upcoming weekend. CNN's Carlos Suarez reports.
Miami Beach commissioners voted not to impose another curfew this upcoming weekend after last weekend's violence.
We have a real problem with the number of people that are coming and the guns that are coming.
The city manager issued a state of emergency and a midnight curfew on Sunday after 2 separate deadly shootings and, quote, excessively large and unruly crowds flooded the city.
Declarations themselves are hugely impactful to those of us who run businesses here. My clientele, primarily an international crowd, I'm going to have to give them a refund, and it hurts.
The commission debated extending the curfew this weekend.
These aren't spring breakers, they're lawbreakers who don't respect police, they don't respect law, they don't respect innocent lives. And I need to follow the recommendation of our law enforcement when they tell me that they need this emergency order to protect our city.
This whole notion of, we got to do something. We did this crap during COVID, right? I mean, let's be real. If it's not going to make a difference, don't punish the businesses that are going to be affected by this and their employees.
Some commissioners argued that it's usually the third weekend of spring break that sees the most violence and that it was unfair to punish the crowds this weekend. In the end, they voted to have liquor stores close at 6 p.m. The city is also preparing to deal with crowds from 2 major music festivals this weekend. Speaking to vacation goers, some admitted that they were out past curfew.
I make sure that my surroundings are safe. I'm with a friend at least, a best friend, a close friend, and my phone is always charged.
But you broke curfew.
I didn't know there was a curfew.
Some tourists said they felt safe in Miami Beach despite the recent shootings.
I think that I feel safer here than in my country, so I'm not that worried. Of course that later in the night we are going to the hotel, not staying in the street, but we don't feel unsafe here.
I think if you play it safe and you just do what you're supposed to do and just be mindful of your area around you, you're fine.
Up next, Carolyn Kelly tells us all about that spring break weather.
I hope it's warming up.
Me too.
Hey Buffs! With spring break right around the corner, let's take a look at the weather report for this weekend. Today we will see partly sunny skies with a high of 50 degrees and a 50% chance of snow later this afternoon. Tonight it'll drop down to 22 degrees and we can expect 1 to 2 possible inches of snow. Onto the Colorado forecast, temperatures will stay rather mild this weekend across the state, with temperatures in the low 30s in the Rocky Mountain area, moving up to the 50s in the Boulder, Denver region, all the way up to the mid to low 50s all across the eastern side of the state. Looking at the national weather forecast, low pressure systems are moving in across the northwestern and central states, bringing with it very high levels of precipitation with high chances of thunderstorms. Flash flood warnings are in place for parts of Oklahoma and Missouri. High pressure systems are moving in on the western side of the country, pushing very dry air and bringing with it very low chances of rain and snow across Idaho, Nevada, Utah, and Colorado. Looking at our 4-day forecast, temperatures will stay on the lower side this weekend, with cloudy skies expected tomorrow with a high of 39 degrees and a 50% chance of snow later that night. High wind will carry into Saturday evening, ranging from 20 to 30 miles an hour, bringing the temperature down to a low of 18 degrees. We'll start to see the sun once again just a little bit on Sunday with partly sunny skies, a high of 40 degrees and a low of 20 degrees. On Monday, we will also see partly sunny skies with a high of 40 and a low of 18 degrees. Looking into the snow base forecast for the mountains this weekend, it still looks like it's a pretty good weekend for skiers with relatively high levels of powder across Colorado ski resorts. At Copper, we can expect to see 73 inches of powder, 67 inches at A Basin, 65 inches at Breckenridge, and 74 inches at Vail. So if you're expecting to stay in Colorado for spring break, it might be worth taking a trip up to the mountains and getting some skiing in. That's all the time we have for weather today. Stay tuned after the break, where we see NewsTeam's Ryan Zangolia telling us about summer storage options for CU students.
Spring break is here, meaning it's time to start thinking about summer storage. Some options can be very expensive. One business, however, located on campus is trying to help students at an affordable price. UPS employee in NewsTeam Boulder, Ryan Zangolia, explains how the program works.
With only about a month left in school, it's almost time to pack things up and head home. That also means it's time to move out of your room. Now you have a couple options when it comes to all the stuff you've acquired over the year. You could ship it back home, but depending on where you live, that could be $100 or more a box. You could also get a giant storage locker, but those cost over $100 a month. Luckily, there's another option right on campus. The place that's been taking care of all your Amazon orders just opened up its registration to store items without breaking the bank. Some may think it's early to set up summer storage, but Lauren Barron, the UPS store manager for all the CU Boulder locations, begs to differ.
When you're coming into the store to complete your transaction and drop off your physical items, you're saving yourself a couple minutes there because you're already into our databases.
So how does it work? First, you have to get a box. You can either bring your own box or buy one here at the UPS store. Each box is stored for a flat one-time fee over the entire summer. Once you get your boxes, it's time to fill them up. Be careful. You don't want to make it too heavy. Not only can the box break, but there's also an overweight fee charge depending on each size. Next, you should register online. Here, you'll pay $45 and put in all your information. That'll cover an 18 by 18 by 18 inch box. If you want to store something that's larger than that size, then that $45 will be deducted from the cost. When you filled your boxes, just come down to the UPS store located at either Williams Village, Cheyenne Arapahoe, or Kittredge. After you get there, all you have to do is fill out some paperwork, say what's inside, pay for everything, and then you're good to go. But what if your item can't really fit in a box? Well, Lauren has just the plan for you.
Mini fridges, posters, 3-tier carts. There's pretty much nothing we won't store. We're just very flexible on what we do around here.
Once you've dropped off all your boxes, everything will be loaded up here on the docks onto a truck. Once it's in the truck, it'll go to a warehouse where it'll sit on an elevated surface for the entire summer. Fragile items that can't be moved around, like TVs, will be set in a locked, secure location elsewhere. But what if you're not going to be living on campus when you return in the fall? No problem. If you store anything with UPS, you'll get an email during the summer asking where you'll be during the semester. After that, you can either choose to pick things up at the store or have things dropped off at your location for a fee. Also, if you're not going to be on campus at all during the semester, you can have things shipped right to your doorstep. To be completely clear, some of those other storing options might be better for you depending on your situation. That's something even Lauren agrees with.
Unfortunately, this program may not be for you because you need a little more flexibility in accessibility than what we're able to offer.
The earlier you get your storage situation set up, the better. If you have any questions, including those about fees, please email the store at store6439@theupsstore.com. Ryan Zangolia, NewsTeam Boulder.
Jada, what are you doing for spring break?
For spring break, I am going on a little trip. I'm gonna have lots of fun with the girls. I hope to see my dogs. What are you gonna be doing over spring break?
I think I'm gonna tan in my backyard, and my mom might come to visit, and I might get to play with our dogs. So I'm really excited about that.
I love that.
My God. Well, anyways, we had such a great time with you all this week, and I hope you have a super fun and super safe spring break wherever you may be.
Don't forget to put on your sunscreen and cover your drinks. That's all for NewsTeam Boulder.